my top 5 tips when it comes down to selling your home for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time possible. Now let's dive in. If you guys don't know me yet, my name is Angel King. I'm a real estate agent / investor out of Chicago, Illinois. My goal with this YouTube channel is basically to help guide you guys, provide you guys with my expertise and experience to help guide you guys throughout the real estate process, whether it's investing, whether it's selling a property, buying a property, whatever the case may be. I want to be that pillar, whether you guys work with me or not, of information to make you guys feel confident through every transaction you guys make. Now let's dive in. Tip number 1 is going to be staging your property. Now, there's a lot of benefits to staging a property. My personal experience for the properties that I have sold with and without staging, the ones with staging, typically they tend to move a little bit quicker. We typically tend to get a little bit more traction on those properties. And I'd say it kind of goes in hand with, the experience a buyer is going to get when they walk through your property, right? So at the end of the day, like I tell all my clients, people don't remember what you told them. They don't remember what you did for them. They remember how you made them feel, right? So if you can be in a good position when it comes to showings on your property, meaning when a potential buyer walks in that door, if they can experience a good feeling when walking through that property, it's going to go a long ways when it comes down to creating that demand for your property, right? At the end of the day, there's been a lot of times where people get emotional over real estate simply for the fact that it's a newer flipped property, or it's a property that's well maintained and it's not cluttered. It's not doesn't have 15 different colors going throughout the property, right? It's got kind of a theme to it, right? Because every property has they have a certain style, right? So if your style of home is kind of catered more towards a farmhouse style, right? I have a couple of staging companies that I work with here in Chicago on my personal flips or just listings that I list. And every property is different, right? Before we start bringing obviously staging equipment into the property, we come up with a plan. And working with a great stager is definitely going to go long ways when it comes down to getting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time for your property, right? Just having a professional and experienced stager by your side whenever you're going to list a property, it's going to be beneficial for you because they're going to be able to give you lots of tips. They're going to be able to give you ideas on kind of what to do in certain rooms. There's actually been a lot of instances where I got recommended to make a certain room a baby room, and we actually got a lot of great feedback from our showings on that property, simply for the fact that it was a couple of potential buyers that walked through it and they were expecting a child. There's a lot of different instances and cases when it comes down to why somebody's buying a property. But if you can stage a property correctly before your professional pictures and all that stuff is taken, it's definitely going to help trigger emotion in a potential buyer, which is going to go, quote unquote, give you guys more money for your property, and they're going to want to close a lot quicker. Tip number 2 would be to use a professional photographer and videographer. You definitely want to make sure you're well presented when it comes down to a potential buyer's interaction with your property. At the end of the day, that's one of the first interactions that they're going to have with it. You definitely want to make sure you're well presented in that aspect, right? So you definitely want to make sure you're working with a professional that's going to be able to capture the property in the best lighting. They're going to get the right angles of every room, and they're going to be able to highlight key features of your property that's going to help you stand out from every other listing. Tip number 3 is going to be pricing your property correctly, and I can't stress this one enough. It's very important that we price your property correctly from the jump. You don't want to be put in a position where your property is listed for 6 months, a year. You have little to no traction to the property, little to no offers. That's just a bad position to be in when it comes to selling your property. So I definitely recommend everyone to work with a professional real estate agent like myself, who's going to be able to offer a comparable market analysis. Basically, what that is it's current market trends going on in the neighborhood. It's going to show comparable sales, and it's going to help you get a better understanding of what the property is worth in the current market that we're in. Um, Doing that is, and setting up a plan for a fast and profitable sale is going to set you up in the long run to execute that goal of getting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time possible. So tip number 4 is going to be enhancing your property's curb appeal. Um, Once again, curb appeal is going to be one of the first interactions that your property is going to have with a potential buyer, and you want to make sure you present it in the right way, right? Whether that's here in Chicago, we're in the middle of December at the moment, and we're starting to get a little bit of snow. So whether it's just shoveling the snow, throwing some salt on the ground, if you're in the spring or summertime, you can do some updating to the landscaping, whether that's just simply keeping up with the lawn care, adding new mulch, flowers, things like that that are going to give your property a face uplift. Is going to go a long ways, right? A lot of the times when a buyer is looking into a property, they're going to go ahead and put it into the Google Maps. They're going to look at the satellite video pictures of the property, right? Or simply they're just going to drive by it and see what it looks like on the outside. If you could put yourself in a position where you're presented well in that instance, it's going to go a long ways. It's going to go a long ways and then lead them into actually touring your property and maybe even submitting an offer, right? So enhancing your property's curb appeal is going to go a long ways to getting you the most amount of money. The last and final tip I have for you today is going to be choose the right real estate agent, right? At the end of the day, choosing the right real estate agent is going to actually benefit you and getting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time possible. We all know that real estate transactions can get pretty stressful at times, and dealing with certain personality types can get pretty hard. So you definitely want to make sure you have a professional by your side that is experienced, and they're going to be able to help and guide you throughout the whole transaction. A lot of the times, certain people might tell you that you don't need a real estate agent, or with the new law going on now, that you don't even have to pay um, a buyer's agent commission, right? And at the end of the day, it was never necessary to do those things, right? But it was always in your benefit. So just making sure that you're working with the correct real estate agent is going to benefit you in getting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time possible. You definitely want to make sure that you're getting back to you on time. Their communication skills are on point. And not only that, but they're kind of hard skinned, right? Nobody wants a real estate agent that can't negotiate a good deal. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And we would definitely want to make sure that we're getting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time possible. So working with a great agent is going to help streamline the whole selling process. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 tips for getting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time possible for your home. If you or anybody that you know is looking to sell a property in the Chicagoland area, feel free to reach out. There's going to be a link in the description below. You're going to be able to schedule a free seller's consultation to see what we can do to help you get the most amount of money for your property. If you like videos just like this one, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're going to be uploading videos consistently to help you guys in the real estate side of the world. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.